Uh-huh.
Okay, so I'm representing the Northern California Water Districts, and this is a presentation on how to fix the water crisis. Okay. The water crisis. California has a severe water crisis. The main issue is that 75% of water falls north of Sacramento, but 75% of demand is south of Sacramento. This leads to tension between the north and the south, along with other sources of water for southern and central California. Further adding to the crisis, California's population continues to grow, especially in Southern California, where the water crisis is most severe. In Southern and Central California, there is a high demand for water and a low supply, leading the areas to look for new sources of water and overextending the sources we already have. Our stance. Northern California water districts are surrounded by many households and farms. We also contain habitats for 50% of the endangered and threatened species in California. 6 national wildlife refuges, along with seasonal and permanent wetlands, are also located in Northern California. The local commercial operations also require water. Our primary goal is to supply enough water to sustain all of our needs now and in the future. This requires conscientious planning for our future and how we are going to distribute our water. The other main goal is to work towards a solution to the water crisis that can provide water for all Californians in an equitable way. Okay. The solution that I propose is a combination of 3 different aspects. In order of importance, these aspects are conservation, water recycling, and desalination. Through these measures, I firmly believe that we can reach our goals. Conservation measures. The most important measure taken is conservation. This approach applies to households, businesses, and the government. First, for the households, I propose that if households do not reduce their water usage by 15%, then the rates of their water will increase. Second, there needs to be water conservation awareness education. Knowing that they will lose money unless they follow these measures will make households listen to the education provided. Businesses can also provide rebates for water-efficient appliances like low-flow water toilets or shower heads. Also, businesses will have to reduce their water usage by 15% or their rates on water will also increase. The government also should invest in repairing the infrastructure of the water systems. The California State Water Project has 701 miles of open canals and pipelines. The project was started around the early 1960s, so many of the pipelines and canals are outdated. Creating and investing in better infrastructure would allow the system to become more efficient. Also, the government should offer a tax rebate for lower water usage for businesses and households. With water conservation, the most important thing is incentives. These incentives will cause businesses and households to become more aware of their water usage and start to conserve. So one of the most important is water conservation at home. So to demonstrate what the water education awareness would look like, I have a short video showing the small choices we make during a day can use a lot of water and the better alternatives we have.
I probably just need to wait.
video shows how the choices that you might think don't really concern water actually do, and I think it was pretty interesting. Education like this could help conserve a lot of water. Okay.
It's so slow that it's.
Okay. Water recycling or reclamation. The second solution is water recycling or reclamation. Water is used in many processes, both in our businesses and in our homes, that doesn't require high quality water. Recycled water is mainly used for landscape irrigation, but is also used in many industrial processes and can be used in wetland restoration. Recycling water gives us a big source of water that we can use for purposes besides drinking water. Recycling plants can also be conveniently located where the water is needed in Southern and Central California. Okay. Another goal that California as a whole should have is water independence. Water independence means that California should be self-sustainable, which will prevent California from having water wars across state lines or even our country's borders. Our dependence on the Colorado River puts us in a bad position with Colorado and Arizona. Besides California as a whole becoming water independent, Southern California should become more independent in getting water so that tension within the state will lessen. Northern California recognizes the need to share and conserve water, and we are all willing to work with Southern and Central California. The only way that Southern California can become more water independent is if there is a new source of water. Okay. Desalination plants. Desalination is the only option Southern California has to get water on its own. The area is conveniently located next to the ocean, which makes it perfect for desalination plants. The major downfall to desalination is cost. Water is in high demand in Southern California and there is low supply, so we can no longer pretend that water is a cheap commodity. Also, desalination has become much less costly with more energy efficient technology. Desalination will also provide Southern California with jobs and a new industry. Through desalination, Southern California can achieve some water independence and lessen the strain on Northern California. Okay, so our situation is not unique, and we can learn how other areas in the world dealt with their water crises. And Singapore is a perfect example of water independence and the success of desalination. So according to the Asia Sentinel, Singapore has emerged as an unlikely world leader in water conservation, reclamation, and desalination. Also, in 2005, Singapore opened the most energy efficient desalination plant, which allowed it to achieve the lowest price for its water. Singapore's efforts in conservation, reclamation, and desalination have allowed it to become water independent and achieve its water needs. We can apply the measures that Singapore took to our own water crisis. Future. California has the ability to overcome the water crisis. Through a combination of conservation, water recycling, and desalination, California can reduce the amount of water being used and become independent from other states. The Northern California water districts are prepared to work with this solution as it achieves both of our goals. It will allow use to provide water for our needs now and the future, yet it will also benefit all Californians and make California an even better place to live. Sorry.